So, Rob, we talked about Sifu last time, right?
We did, and I had mentioned the difficulty options update, which I said, oh, I think it's coming this year sometime. No, it literally came out like the next day after we recorded.
I know. I was amazed. I was like, oh, wait, Rob just told me about this. Have you played? I have not. I haven't had time.
No, so I found a really good deal on the physical edition, which comes with like an art book and steelbook and stuff like that, which I ordered pretty much when we recorded, and it's still being posted from God knows where. So no, I don't have my copy yet, unfortunately.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, yeah, I've been busy. We were traveling over the past weekend, and I've had a lot of other stuff going on. So I haven't played a lot of games recently, but I'm very excited because my play date actually shipped yesterday. Although I don't know if it counts as shipped, because it says, if I open up Parcel, the app that I'm using to track my shipments, it says pre-shipment info sent to USPS. USPS awaiting item. And it's been like that since yesterday afternoon. So I guess somebody created a label or an account for this or whatever, and it hasn't actually physically been dropped in the mail yet. A little disappointing it's U.S. Postal Service, because U.S. Postal Service is really slow and not super great, but I'm glad that it's shipped. I'm looking forward to it. I would say that my enthusiasm has dimmed a tiny bit, mainly because of the stories I've heard about the screen in dim light from people like Federico and Mike Hurley, that, I do like to play these kind of casual games maybe for a little while before I go to sleep at night. And that seems to be very difficult to do with the play date. Now, I do have a bedside lamp. Maybe it's positioned in just such a way that it won't be a problem for me, but I guess the reflective screen really does need pretty good source of light for it to be workable.
Yeah, to the shipping thing, that's exactly what's happened with my copy of Sifu. It just says, oh, it's on its way to Royal Mail, and it's been like that for like a week. So I'm guessing I got such a good deal because they're shipping it from God knows where, the middle of the Pacific or something.
Yeah. You know what? All right. Let's have some gripes about shipping, because I have some more shipping gripes, Rob. My Mac Studio, which wasn't supposed to show up until the end of June, actually, quote, shipped. And I was a little confused, because when I went to Apple's website, it said it was coming on May 23rd. And this also happened yesterday. I thought, well, that's weird. Yesterday was the 10th of May. It's going to take 13 days to get to me, which seems really long compared to most Apple shipments, right? So then I thought, all right.
Tim Apple's walking it to you.
Yeah, well, and then I saw that, well, there's a UPS tracking number here. So I thought maybe I can get some more details by going to UPS. So I did that, and it shoots me over to their website, which says, oh, it's coming on the 12th. Which is tomorrow as we record this. I thought, well, that makes more sense. Usually, they ship these things, they fly them over the Pacific Ocean, they make a hop somewhere on the west coast of the U.S., and before I know it, they're in the Chicago area. Well, I was talking to Stephen Hackett about this, and he said, oh, don't be so sure that that's correct, because he said when he got his Mac Studio, he had this similar situation, and what happened was the computer ended up sitting in one place for a very long time until the dates finally lined up, which I'm starting to think might happen, because my Mac Studio was trucked from Shenzhen, China to Hong Kong yesterday, and it has been sitting in Hong Kong since 3 a.m. yesterday. I don't know why. It's just sitting in Hong Kong. It's like, well, if it's built, if it left the factory in mainland China, and it's sitting in Hong Kong and ready to go, and because I think that the factory's in Shenzhen, but who knows? It's sitting in Hong Kong, and I'm impatient. I just want my Mac now.
I get infuriated by this stuff. I mean, on the one hand, I have to remind myself that, we're shipping whatever it is, computers and all sorts of electronics and God knows what else. Oh, how hard is it to ship it halfway around the world really quickly? But it's
well, and we've been spoiled too, right? I mean, part of it is all this supply chain stuff, because I've grown accustomed to the fact that when Apple gives you a window of like a week when something's going to arrive at your doorstep, it's almost always comes right at the beginning of that period. And recently my Apple Studio display, that date actually got bumped into the middle of June from the end of April. It got shifted like 6 weeks. So there's definitely issues going on there. And these dates it's a combination of the dates, and then when you're talking about the U.S. postal system, that's just the U.S. postal system. They tend to tell you when something has shipped and then tell you again when it's practically at your doorstep. They don't have a lot of middle steps like, DHL or FedEx or somebody like that. But anyway, so I've got all manner of dates going on right now and waiting for things being delayed, things in transit. Eventually it'll all get here, I guess.
Yeah, well, speaking of supply chain and things selling out, the Lego Horizon Forbidden West toolneck got released, and I'm a fairly well-known fan of the Horizon games.
Yeah. I saw someone build this on Twitter recently. It was the guy who makes Game Track, I think, Joe.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I saw that as well.
Yeah.
It sold out immediately. I got up at 7 a.m., something like that. And that's when I was able to order the DeLorean when that came out.
Uh-huh.
No, the toolneck is sold out everywhere.
Wow.
I cannot buy this at all.
Wow, that's amazing.
In reality, there's not a huge rush. Like, I don't need to build it now. It's not like it's life or death. But I can't tell if it's... I'm guessing it's a combination of things. I'm guessing Lego just didn't think it would be this popular.
Right.
Because it's for a video game that was only on the PS4 and now the
right.
PS5. But I've seen a lot of people just, even who've never played the game, are like, oh yeah, but it's a cool set. So I think it's just sold way more than Lego are expecting.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not like a limited edition where they only print so many. They'll make more probably, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even for a limited set, they'll still make it for 6 months or a year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be plenty of stock for me to get one at some point, and I'm on a bunch of waiting lists and alerts and stuff like that, so I'm sure I'll pick it up eventually.
Maybe you can get the NFT version and have it today because it's on the blockchain. I'm sorry.
Don't make me kick you off the podcast.
I'm sorry. I was reading about this stuff this morning, and I was reading about Coinbase is actually a public company, right? And their CEO was on Twitter saying that they're not going to have to file bankruptcy, which right there is an enormous red flag, because you say something like that and it turns out that you're wrong. You could go to jail in the United States potentially. There's a lot. It's very. I'm watching as things start melting down as the world economy hits a speed bump, and cryptocurrency is plummeting in all sorts of different ways. And not that I'm not gloating, but I find it fascinating as someone who used to deal with distressed companies, and especially with financial institutions, and realizing that, it turns out it's true that cryptocurrency really isn't that much different in some ways than any other financial instrument or institution. And it can be, harmed by changes in the world economy, just like anything else. It's not immune from these things. And in fact, it's probably more volatile than more traditional assets. So people always think that they've built a better mousetrap. This is one of my one of my hobby horses, Rob, my soapboxes, where everybody thinks they've built a better mousetrap that has beat the system, and the latest has been fintech and cryptocurrency, and I think in reality, while a lot of this stuff is really clever and built on top of really sophisticated technology, there are like fundamental truths about the way that money works in the world and assets and things, and that doesn't really change, and it's very hard to beat the system. And when you're beating the system, there's a very thin line too between clever and fraudulent. And I think that there is a little bit of both going on in a lot of this cryptocurrency stuff. And don't at me. This is just how I feel about this stuff. I watch people try to game the system for years in other ways as a bankruptcy lawyer, and there was never really a silver bullet for gaming the system. You were always pretty much, it was always just a game. Usually they are some variation of musical chairs where there's always going to be someone standing at the end who's holding the big sack of losses. And I think we're starting to see a few people holding those big sack of losses with some of the volatility in the cryptocurrency market. All right.
Yeah, it was funny you bring that up because I have a tab open that I haven't read yet, and the headline is Coinbase warns that bankruptcy could wipe out user funds, and I actually hadn't got around to reading that yet, but I probably don't need to now. You've told me it's fine. I don't need to read it.
I was browsing some of this stuff this morning because there's some, quote unquote stable coin that's now worth 20% of the dollar, which was supposed to be pegged to the US dollar, right? I mean, so much for stable coin. Your stable coin is worth 80% less than it was 2 days ago. But yeah, that I guess the way those work is interesting because they're backed. Supposedly their volatility is smoothed out by the fact that they're backed by huge amounts of Bitcoin that are held in reserve. And so one of the things that's been dragging everything down is that in order to prop up the price of that stablecoin, there was a fear that they would start dumping Bitcoins onto the market to sell them to raise funds to prop up this other currency, which would create a run on Bitcoin, which just the fear of that alone brought down the value of Bitcoin significantly. So,
yeah. I don't get involved in any of this. I'm not interested. I'll stick with.
Yeah. Oh, I don't get involved. I'm interested once in a while in places like this where it's like I see these parallels to things that I've done in my past, and it's kind of intriguing to me to see how it's. Well, yeah. Turns out this is just subject to the same rules of human nature and physics as everything else in the world, and then that's okay. That's okay. And it's possible. It's actually possible to do things where you create value and sell people things and make money and do it the old fashioned way.
Don't be silly.
That's just me. I'm an old person. So anyway, enough of the politics of Bitcoin. We have other things to talk about, like those really disappointed Nintendo Indie World video that we saw this morning. I guess did you watch it? I didn't watch it. I actually just kind of caught up on the trailers later.
No, well, I mean, you will know. I didn't know this was even on until you told me.
Yeah.
Probably about 2 hours before. Now, I went to Polygon's 7 best announcements from Nintendo's Indie Direct article about an hour ago, and realised there was nothing of interest there for me at all.
Yeah, Gunbrella looks kind of interesting. That game looks okay. Yeah, it was. I'm not surprised you missed it, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there wasn't anything really blockbuster that was announced because it was only just tweeted out by Nintendo of America yesterday. So I think it was less than 24 hours notice, or maybe 24 hours. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of good games maybe on the horizon, but I think Nintendo's a little bit treading water a little bit these days. There's not, I mean, I guess Splatoon's on the way, and there's some other titles that'll be coming, but it's been a little slow for a while. I mean, I feel like we need that blockbuster mainline first party game. We need a Mario game or a Zelda game or something like that to really get people excited again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's you had like the Mario Kart 8 DLC stuff, but that's kind of fine. But that's not really. I don't think really that's a system seller in any sense of the word. I mean,
not the DLC itself, even though that's one of the most popular games I think that's ever been sold for the Switch. But even that's a remaster. That's not even really. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not like an original game. It's a good game. It's just not. It wasn't created for the Switch originally. It was gussied up for the Switch.
Yeah, they need to give me Mario Odyssey too. That's what I need.
Yeah, that would be great.
Right now,
that would be great.
I want to throw that hat around and do all the stuff.
Yeah, get all those coins. Start collecting those coins. That'd be great. I mean, I would really like that.
Yeah, I love that game. I mean, I must have spent got hours and hours, like way more than a normal person should spend on that game. But I basically wanted to collect every single thing because I just loved it so much.
Yeah, that's a fantastic game. I still go back to it once in a while because it's so much fun. I have a portable gaming or portable video sickness, I think, Rob, because I got that portable OLED display, the C-Force, and it's really nice. You can run it, power it with an Anker battery pack, and then just connect it to your Xbox or whatever and play games on it. And I noticed today on Mac Rumors a new gizmo that allows you to power an Apple TV without connecting it to the wall, which is kind of interesting. So you could actually then mount it behind your television, for instance, plug it right into HDMI, and no cords. You wouldn't see any cords at all. Now, the way it does it is it's basically a battery pack on a cable that goes into the Apple TV and powers it that way, because the USB ports and HDMI can't really power it from a TV. And I had the immediate thought, well, wow, I've got a portable video rig potentially. Connect that with the C-Force and another battery pack. Then, of course, I've just got a portable screen with an Apple TV and two giant battery packs, but it's technically portable. It's not connected to a wall.
There you go. And then you need one of those laptop backpacks where it puts the laptop in front of you. Oh. But you could convert that for the TV. See,
see?
You could be doing your errands. Walking the dog, or going for a run, whatever. You can take your portable setup with you.
Yeah, why catch a little TV while I'm out and about? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought that was a really weird product, but I guess it makes a lot of sense if you want to hide, especially if you want to hide wires, but you're in an apartment or something and you can't put them through the wall or something like that. I suppose it could be a nice way of doing it, but.
I'm not sure I've ever wanted to hide wires that much, though.
No,
to buy a battery for my Apple TV.
You'd be surprised, though, Rob. People are really into cable management. I get shamed for my lack of cable management on a regular basis by people.
No,
yeah.
I'm with you and Mike. I have no time for it. I don't care. I just put cables wherever they go.
Well, every time I try to do some sort of cable management, I realize very quickly how often I kind of slightly change my setup. And once you've got all those things bound together and tucked away, it makes it hard to rearrange your setup. So I'm in portable mode. I'm ready to mix things up at any moment. I'm ready to just go, grab everything off my desk and run out the door, and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, my cables will basically stay like this now until I move my desk, which could be 20 years or something. So unless I change the monitor or something, I'm not taking these cables out. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, my problem right now is that my desk kind of sits out in the middle of the room, kind of, so it is a little bit, it looks messier. I don't have the cover of pushing it up against a wall where the only thing that sees it are my feet. But we'll see. That's hopefully the promise of the Mac Studio and the Studio Display, to bring it all the way back to the beginning, which is I'm not going to be using hubs and things so much. I'm going to have a lot of this stuff plugged directly into the display and not have it running off the end of the desk and into a hub and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. If you can do that, I mean, that's what I've done with this sort of new setup, is a lot of the stuff is going through the monitor just because it kind of keeps the cables out the way.
Right, exactly.
It's not that I want them tidy per se, but I don't necessarily want them dangling on my desk. I'd rather have the desk space.
Right, and I've got a little bit of that going on where it's stringing across the desk because the 4K display that I've got now, it's an LG, it's older, and I got, basically a lot of these models, you'll have ones that have very little connectivity to them that are cheaper, and then ones that have a little hub built into them. And I have one of the cheaper ones. It's got, it's got video inputs, and it's got a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, but that's about it. There's no USB in it or anything like that.
That makes sense. I finished Horizon.
You did? Oh, congrats.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it took me, I checked, it was about 60 hours or so.
Oh, you did. You ran a nice leisurely pace there.
Oh, yeah. I'm one of these people that I can't... you've played a Horizon game, there's a lot of stuff on the map.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
and I just can't help myself. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go and do this mission, and the next thing it's been like an hour because I've like been doing all this side stuff, and I come across things, and
right, and one side mission leads to another side mission, and before you know it, you're way off the beaten path. And
right, exactly. And I've still got stuff to do, which I'm going to go back and do just because I want to get the trophies because. I think there's only 2 or 3 that I need now, so I'm like, yeah, I'll go and finish the rest of the stuff that needs doing.
Oh, that's great. I have not finished that game. I need to get back to it. I've been my attention has been split over a lot of different things, mainly because I got the Xbox, so I've been playing Game Pass games, and I also have been enjoying Ollie World on the Switch. It's available on a bunch of different platforms, but you might have played, I don't know, Ollie was originally put out on the PS4, and it was a 2-dimensional, super chunky pixelated skateboarding game. And this new one is very animated. It has a very Adventure Time art style to it. And it has a lot of the same mechanics as the original Ollie, which used the thumbstick and flicking the thumbstick in different directions to do different tricks. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I've not dug too deep into it, but it's the kind of game that when you're busy is nice because you can kind of pick it up and put it down and just play a level or two every now and then. And I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so as you said that, I sort of looked over to my shelf to see if I do have a copy of Ollie 2 limited edition or something, which is a physical version that has both games on it.
Welcome to Ollie World was number 2. I recently researched this from Mac Stories Unwind. Yeah, I don't think I ever played number 2.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm looking at it and I don't really remember playing it at all. I mean, it's open, which makes me think I must have played it, but I really don't remember. But maybe I'll jump into that when I finish Horizon.
Yeah, I've still got the original Ollie on, that I can download that I bought digitally. So I may check that out again too. But Ollie World is, instead of being true, just plain 2D, it's like 2.5D where you can kind of switch tracks and things like that as you grind across curbs and rails and stuff like that. And it's got, like I said, really nice, colorful animation. I think it works particularly well on the Switch that you can play handheld, although it, with all the bright colors and everything, it could be a lot of fun on a TV too. I just haven't, I've pretty much gone to 100% handheld mode with my Nintendo Switch. I rarely play on the TV these days.
Wow. Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I never, ever play it handheld. I just struggle with the Joy-Cons attached to the
I can see
attached to the screen, so I tend to just play on the TV. But it's fine. I'm sure my battery is completely shot because it's just sat in the dock all the time. But I'm probably never going to play it handheld.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say that when I do switch over to the Pro controller, when I do play on the TV, it is kind of a breath of fresh air compared to playing with the Joy-Con split between the screen, but across the screen. But I still enjoy it. So it's the kind of game. It's kind of the Switch is the system that I pick up and play just periodically when I have a little extra time or at night or whatever. So having it handheld and being able to take it wherever I want to be in the house is kind of nice.
Well, that turned into a fairly game-heavy episode.
Yeah, games and crypto. Who would have thought about and postal services? It's what you get. You get a wide range of quality topics from Renaissance men from the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody else is covering those 3 topics on the same episode. So
no, I think I can guarantee that. I can, that's your Ruminate guarantee right there.
I don't know. Connected's recording right now. You know what those guys are like.
Oh, I know.
They got up to all sorts.
all sorts of nonsense.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Talk to you later, Rob.
Bye.